This is the new M5 iPad Pro, or as I like to call it, the Emperor's new clothes, except this time the clothes are on the inside. In this video, we'll be taking a first look at the new M5 powered iPad Pro. I've got the 11-inch base model here, that's 256 gigabytes, Wi-Fi only, $999. But if you fancy a good laugh, you can easily spend double that if you max out storage options and grab the cellular version. You could even get the fancy nano texture display, which sounds impressive and helps absorb reflections if you're working outdoors a lot, but here's the catch, you do have to spend another $100, and even then, it's only available if you buy the 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte option, so it's actually a $600 to $1,000 option once you've totted all that up. Classic cheekiness there from Apple. So you're probably wondering, what's actually new here? Well, of course, Apple have listed all the specs on their site, which is fine, but as I did own the previous M4 edition iPad Pro, I can give you a more objective take. And yeah, it's definitely powerful. Geekbench showed me that the new chip offers roughly a 40% improvement in GPU power compared to the M4 edition, and it's 129% more powerful than the M1 version from just a few years ago. Ho! My Netflix app is going to open so fast now. Joking aside, if Apple's AI future ever actually arrives, this thing might well be more capable than ever of earning its keep in your setup. Until then, to borrow an analogy from a previous iPad video of mine, it is still like putting a jet engine in a Ford Fiesta. It's fast, but it's not ever going to take off thanks to the confines of iPadOS. Other new features include the new N1 networking chip, which brings the latest Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6 standards, and if you get the cellular model, you'll also find a new C1X modem, which is capable of blistering 5G speeds. And if you're a bit power hungry, you can now fast charge this from 0 to 50% in just 30 minutes with any 60-watt charger. Side note, here in the UK, you do not get a charger in the box anymore. There's no need to buy Apple's $70 brick that they'll try to sell you, but you can use anything with a fast USB power delivery port. What else is there? Well, RAM has had a little bump too compared to the previous model, 12 gigabytes on the base model, up from 8 gigabytes previously, and 16 gigabytes if you go for one of the large storage options. Another side note, I actually really like that Apple now show you these specs when you're picking your model rather than having to work it all out after you've placed an order. In real terms, more RAM means that everything from multitasking to graphic-intensive work like gaming and editing should feel much snappier, and yeah, sure enough, it does. Even booting this thing up is lightning fast. Now, here is something that power users and pro users will love. If you connect this to a display for the very excellent extended display mode, the M5 iPad Pro now supports 120Hz over Thunderbolt. That's up from 60Hz on last year's edition. It's kind of odd that, at the time of making this video anyway, Apple do not have a display capable of running 120Hz. Even their ludicrously priced Pro Display XDR only gives you 60Hz. Now, this will mean that if you connect this to the right kind of display, it will feel more like a Mac than ever. Or, if you like your gaming, you could really get an awesome console-level experience through a proper gaming display. That is something I'll definitely test out on an upcoming video, so yeah, make sure you're subscribed. Next, if you've still got any money left after dropping over $1,000 on Apple's most expensive iPad, I promise you, you're going to want to protect it. And I've got a selection of brilliant accessories from ESR to show you today. And spoiler alert, they make them for all the latest iPads, not just this one. Let's start with the one thing we all dread when it comes to protection: screen protectors with bubbles. Once they're there, you just can't unsee them. But the ESR UltraFit Armorite screen protector makes it ridiculously easy, even for an idiot like me, to get a perfect fit every time. You just pop the iPad into the tray, close the lid, pull the tab, done. Crystal clear protection, zero bubbles, and that amazing screen still looks bright as ever. Next, there's the Shift magnetic case. This gives you more angles than an Apple promo video. Viewing, typing, sketching, watching, even sticking it to the fridge if that's your vibe. And you can still flip it into portrait mode for a really cool vertical display setup. And then there's this, the ESR Geo Digital Pencil. This is a much more cost-effective alternative at around a quarter of the price of Apple's Pencil Pro, but you still get fast charging via USB-C. 30 minutes gives you 12 hours of use, plus Apple Find My integration, a shortcut button, and even a battery display. And unlike Apple's version, it comes in a variety of colours, not just white. It's smooth, precise, and ideal for note-taking or sketching. I've left links to all of these in the description, and a huge thanks to ESR for sponsoring this video. So who is this for? Well, I'm making a full iPad buying guide next month, so stay tuned for that. But in simple terms, if you've got last year's M4 iPad Pro, honestly, just skip this. Don't even think about it. You'll get bragging rights and a new wallpaper, but honestly, that's about it. If you're upgrading from an N1 edition or older, it's a bit more compelling. So the M1 iPad Pro is still ridiculously capable, and let's be honest, it's going to stay that way for another 3 or 4 years yet. But if you're rocking a first generation or second generation iPad Pro, this is going to feel like stepping into a spaceship in terms of the speed difference. Not to mention the super thin design that debuted on last year's M4 iPad Pro. It's so light and it feels undeniably awesome in your hands. For everyone else, I would seriously look at picking up a refurbished M4 iPad Pro instead. You'll likely save $200 or more, and you'll still have a display that makes everything look incredible. By the way, quick tip for buying refurbished: this website Refurb Tracker lets you set an alert for the spec of the iPad that you want, and it'll email you as soon as it's in stock so that you can just snap it up before anyone else gets their dirty little hands on it. And yeah, that website works on all other Apple devices too. You can thank me later. Let's wrap it up then. Is the M5 iPad Pro worth it? Well, if you're chasing benchmarks and you've got money to burn, sure, it's the fastest, most powerful iPad ever made. But for most people, it is a classic case of Emperor's new clothes. All the real changes are under the hood, and even then, you'll rarely notice them in day-to-day iPad use. On the other hand, if you're a creative professional who's built their entire workflow inside the iPad ecosystem, yeah, go for it. But for everyone else, just hang on to your M1 or M2 edition a bit longer and maybe spend the savings on, I don't know, a toaster? I mean, it has got more ports. Let me know in the comments if you've upgraded to the M5 iPad Pro this year and what spec you've gone with. Don't forget to subscribe if you want my long-term thoughts on this and whether it's up to stealing my love of the little iPad mini. See you next time.